Hello everyone, Jeff with the Green Review. Today we're talking about prickly pear cactuses. I received a large piece of one that had been in the landscape, and I don't have a place to put it in the landscape, so I'm going to be potting it up. But let's talk about cactuses briefly here. Cactus stems are green and they are not leaves. This is not a pair of leaves. These two pads on this prickly pear branch here are part of the stem. And they have raised brown bumps on here. Those are the nodes. We have nodes and internodes on plants. The big green area is the internode. The small little brown areoles here are they're the nodes. On cactuses, they have the areoles, and that's one of the ways you can tell that a plant is a cactus and not a succulent or an air plant or some other kind of thing. It looks like a cactus. It has these areoles on the cactuses. Now this particular prickly pear cactus is in the Opuntidae family. Opuntia is the genus, and they have areoles that are filled with little brown bristles called glochids. They have the normal spines like you expect on a cactus, but the glochids are fuzzy little hairs, very, very short, and they are barbed. There's dozens of little tiny backwards pointing little branches on these glochids, and so the spines are going to stab you and hurt you. They are very sharp and painful, but sharp and cause pain. In a lot of cactuses, there's one main one that points outwards at each node, and then another group of spines that point out in different directions. So if a small animal got on the plant, it would be stabbed. But these glochids are really the irritating part of the prickly pear family. They are very, very nasty. If you brush up against those, they will embed themselves in your skin, and it's very, very hard to get them out. If you try to suck them out, you'll embed them in your tongue. So don't try that. And studies have found that the pulling them out with tweezers works better than anything else. The second best was to cover the area after the tweezers with white glue and then gauze, and then being able to pull the white glue off and pull a lot of them out. Other methods like sticky tape don't work nearly as well. Even multiple applications of the sticky tape don't work very well. So anyway, these areoles, these nodes on cactus stems, may send out leaves, may send out flowers, may send out roots, depending on the environmental conditions that the plant is in at the time. And branches, like this one, is sending out a new pad here at the top, new branches. And so when you're going to plant prickly pear cactus pads, you can, if you're going to propagate them, you can just cut them off right at the base between pads, let them dry for a day or two, depending on the weather. You want that area to dry off and callus over, and then you just use these salad tongs to pick them up and put them into the potting soil. Now what I've got, I have some cactus mix here, but it's a lot of peat moss in it and perlite. It's a good mix for some of the smaller cactuses, but these prickly pears get kind of heavy and kind of top over, and so I like to have the sand mix. So I'm using 1/4 of potting soil, and then using 3/4 of just plain sand, and I'm just mixing it together and putting it in the pot. You drop the cactus pad in vertically and bury it about halfway down, and those node points, the areoles, will send out roots, and then 1 or 2 at the top will start sending out new branches and maybe even a flower. Prickly pear cactus flowers are very pretty, and they produce a large fruit that can be eaten by people, going through a big long process to do that, and I'm not going to get into. Prickly pear cactuses are easy to grow. They like a very well drained soil, and that's why you use so much sand. And since they're top heavy, the sand helps to keep the pots from tipping over, and then just keep them in a full sun situation. If you're in a cold climate, you bury this in the ground so that it can stay dormant outside during wintertime. You can think about some of the deserts in the western United States are at very high altitude, so these plants are capable of surviving cold winters. And this is Jeff with the Green Review. Thanks for watching.